Welcome to the United Stand, and a club record transfer fee is expected from Manchester United for a brand new midfielder. Elliot Anderson, Baleba, Wharton, all on that list. We're going to break down this big bit of news today, just in from Richard Frey. And, of course, get your thoughts and your opinions on this. Plus, a big update also from Mark Ogden in relation to Manchester United's midfield pursuit. You know, and I know, the importance of this for the club. And some massive news coming out of Barcelona as well. They're now stating that it's very likely Rashford will not be retained by Barcelona next season. So, therefore, will be on his way back to Manchester United. As ever, please please subscribe, get that bell notification turned on for the community here, and let us know where you're watching from around the world. It's great to be back. Normally, I'm here on Fridays, but I'm in covering today at 2 o'clock, which is always nice. I'm also going to touch on the game Thursday, because I won't see you before then, and it's so important we win. I didn't think we'd beat Crystal Palace, but we did. Now we've got a chance to create a little bit of clear blue water from everybody else who wants a European spot. So we're going to talk about all of that today. We are, and I'm excited about it. But I want to start off with the news about a midfielder. I'm going to read this to you because I think it's key. It says Manchester United could break their club transfer fee to sign a top midfielder next year. Ruben Amorim would love to sign a midfielder with Premier League experience in an effort to improve the physicality and athleticism of his first-team squad. There is also a desire to have players who can cope with the demands of playing 2 matches a week as Man United target a return to European competition. Elliot Anderson has emerged as a top transfer target alongside Adam Wharton, while there is still interest in Carlos Baleba. And we've heard Ben Jacobs many times right here on the United Stand talk about how high up on the priority list Carlos Baleba is. I think Man United are going to try and sign 2 midfielders at bare minimum. And Ornstein last week kind of shut down the talk around João Gomez. And what I'm hoping that means is that we've been given some really good signs from the Balebas, from the Andersons, from the Whartons, and we're going to put our eggs into that basket. I do think they're better than João Gomez, and if we really believe we can land 2 of those guys, maybe Stiller is in that mix as well. I would rather wait to the summer for the better players than a good player now in January, if those individuals are unattainable. But the midfield does need to be the next big focus. I know we could do with some more centre-backs. I know we need a left wing-back as well. But from my point of view and perspective, packing out that midfield, more technical ability, more athleticism, more power and speed are absolutely key. Do that, and this Man United team can go up a level. And I had a big debate, actually, with a good friend of mine who's a United fan the other day, who was sort of having a bit of a dig at me, really, suggesting that I'm a bit crazy for thinking that the football at Man United will get better if we sign better players, which I'm still a bit miffed at, because 110% if you buy better players, we will improve. Whether that means Amorim should keep his job or not is irrelevant to me. I want the squad to be as good as possible, as brilliant as possible. I don't buy into this notion of I wouldn't buy ex-manager any more players. For me, I think of it as I want Man United to have a better squad. Imagine we don't buy him any new midfielders because you've got to prove you deserve it first, and then he doesn't prove it and loses his job, and the next guy comes in and just re-inherits the same midfield, the same tired centre-backs, the same poor full-backs. It's just such warped logic. The logic really exists because people that don't want to see Amorim succeed are fearful that with better players he might succeed, and they'd have to admit they were wrong, when actually we know that at the moment there's 2 problems. Amorim hasn't done a good enough job and the players aren't good enough. You put those 2 things together, it's a disaster. Why would you not try and fix both? That's just my view and opinion. Let's have a little look here at some of your comments that are coming through. In Amorim we trust is what's said here. Listen, I'm glad you do. I wish I fully trusted him as well. And I hope that he can change my mind on that. Darren here says, hi, Terry, mates. Who will be football games since Hella from... I don't know what that means. We need Rashford back because of Sheshko. Oh, I don't know about that. Man like Terry is back today. Thank you, Fine Dash. I don't like how they put everyone's ats. I prefer the usernames on YouTube. Why have YouTube done that? It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Terry, would you take Eddie Howe? I mean, I wouldn't cry about it. I wouldn't be dead set against it. I don't know. Look, I'd love Man United. If Amorim fails, if Amorim doesn't work out, I would love the next manager to be a person that can help us build, help us grow, and eventually get us over the line to win a major trophy. That's utopia. Fix us from a footballing perspective so we're playing nice competitive football, and then help us fix the club from top to bottom and inside out to where we're challenging year in, year out, and then get over the line. Brilliant. I've said this for a long time. My mind hasn't even changed. Amorim might even be the guy doing this. We might need someone to help fix the squad and get us to a certain level, and then a new guy comes in and takes us over the line. That could also be part of the process of fixing Manchester United, because it is a process. We ain't going to be fixed by just bringing in a good coach and signing 2 or 3 good players. That was never going to fix Man United. Ever. Anyone who believed that was wrong then, they're wrong now. Chip here says, I don't think we'll make top 5 without January signings, and we need top 5 to land the caliber of players in the summer. Gallagher on loan makes sense. That's where I accept a deal like that. Again, Gallagher on a permanent deal, I don't like it. But someone like a Gallagher on a loan till the end of the season with an option to buy if he does a good job, to give us some more legs, to give us some more rotation, to give us some more energy makes sense. I think we've also got to look at the fact that we're going to be losing Ahmad and Mbeumo for a period of time. And they're key players for us. And without them, we've seen how thin this squad looks when Cunha and Šeško have been injured. There could even be an overlap with the injury of Šeško and Mbeumo and Ahmad going. Who the hell is going to play? Genuinely, who is going to play? It worries the living daylights out of me. It really does. So I do agree with you that we need to look at January. But in terms of, someone said now, Terry, you can have Elliot Anderson in the summer, but you've got to wait. Or you can have João Gomez now for £40 million. I would still wait. I would still rather play chess than checkers overall. But that also, there has to be a guarantee there that Elliot Anderson would join us irrespective. If Elliot, equally, the club has made a big point that they're not going to sign players that are only going to come to us conditionally. They have to commit to wanting to play for us wherever we are, whatever competitions we're in. And I like that approach, because that approach makes it easier for you to make decisions. If you know that, if Anderson says, or Wharton says, if Wharton says, guys, I'm only coming with it if there's Champions League football, we can go, right, well, we're going to buy someone that's going to help make us get into the Champions League, and we're going to invest in them rather than the conditional element. So I would rather that approach, to be fair. Hello, everybody. Big up to yourself, Kay. Indeed, I prefer that the handle names on the user to the usernames on YouTube, Terry, but I've got used to this now. Do you know what it is for me, Daniel? Because I'm dyslexic. Having all the letters close together with numbers in the middle of them, it throws my dyslexic brain out of sync. Genuinely, sometimes I can't understand what I'm even trying to read here. We did that with the last 2 managers and still fired them. Yeah, Joel, this is the thing for me. So the reason why I have this view is we shouldn't be buying players specific to the manager. The manager should fit what we're trying to build. So therefore, there's a gaps, right? Amorim's got gaps. Amorim in the squad have got gaps. The recruitment team fill the gaps. But if we do remove Amorim, the next manager shouldn't have a completely different ideology, shouldn't have a completely different outlook on football, shouldn't want, and more importantly, a massive change in profile of player. That way, the squad building has an element of continuity to it. The new guy might come in and go, let's go 4-3-3. But we all know we can adapt to that, right? And Wilcott spoke about this on many occasions. They're not just buying players to play 3-4-3. They're buying players that can play multiple systems that fit how they want the club to play moving forward. And for me, you bring in an Elliot Anderson, you bring in a Baleba, you bring in a Wharton. If Amorim still gets sacked, they're still going to be needed. They're still going to be wanted. They're still going to fit how we're going to play as a football club. So from my point of view, and this is it, if we have to change direction, if we change direction after Amorim, I have no faith left in Ineos, because that is what we'd have done the previous 5 times under the Glazers, and we ended up getting worse and worse each time. And there'll be no faith in it from me. I'll therefore move into a different realm of problem with the football club, which is, one, I'll still give no money to it, because why would I fund the erosion of my own football club? It's a very weird, still find it a weird concept. If you truly believe your ownership is going to ruin you, why would you fund them and make them stay? Doesn't sit right with me. Each to their own, though. Don't judge you. Just giving you my own personal opinion. You like some people don't eat meat? Cool. Do you? I don't give the Glazers money. The other element is, why would I have any faith in sacking a manager if we're just going to change direction again? All we're really doing is peeing in the wind and hoping we get none in our face. I dare you to go out and Galforce wins and do that and see how much you get in your face. I bet it's a lot. But there we go. I really doubt the Marcus Rashford news. We'll come back to the Rashford news in a minute. There was another article as well from Mark Ogden. Now, this was really interesting. Mark Ogden here says, Man United will listen to offers for Mainoo, Xerxes, Ugarte and Malacia, but allowing any to leave before the end of AFCON in January the 18th will leave Amorim desperately short of players. However, if Man United's hierarchy can unlock some funds, it could make a move for one of the key midfield targets, Anderson, Wharton, Baleba, Stiller in January. United could be busy in the second half of the window once Mbeumo, Ahmad and Mazwari return from AFCON. But their midfield targets, only Stiller seems likely to be affordable and available next month. And for me, I don't know a lot about Stiller, but I do listen to you guys, and a lot of you rate him. So I'm going to take your word for it. That's a player that I would love to see us go and get into January. And the funds would, if we sold Mainoo, the funds would be available. If we sold Malacia, the funds would be available. Xerxes and Ugarte, you're probably going to be coming in net even with what we owe on them still. But you would free up money, you would free up their salary. The bit that pains me about this article is I don't want to see Mainoo go. I don't want to see Mainoo leave. I feel that Stella is a different type of player. I just cannot fathom why Mainoo's not getting a chance. It worries the living daylights out of me. I love the idea that we could sell some players in January and we could take some of that money and invest it in key areas. So, for instance, if Malacia and Ugarte got sold and we went and got Stiller, I nearly said Ben Stiller for a minute. If we went and got Stiller, then I look at it as potentially, you don't always know how Angelo would settle in the Premier League, but you look at it as potentially a net positive for the squad. I thought if Mainoo leaves, and Stella might come in and get game time and make us better because he's actually playing. So you could argue, well, if Mainoo's on the bench and never getting a minute and Stella comes in and plays, we will still improve. You're right. If the manager of the club believes more in Stella than they do Mainoo. But I feel overall, long term, we're going to regret selling Mainoo. There's something about it where we might see a benefit in the short term, but I think Mainoo will leave and I think he'll go on to do great things in football, and it will hurt us. I think it will really, really hurt us. Steve here says, I'd want Mainoo out on loan. We don't know his full capability yet. Blimey. He hasn't played a senior football for long. I agree, Steve. I mean, I don't even agree on loan. I want to see him get opportunities in the Man United team. And I'm interested to see what happens this Thursday, actually, because this Thursday I think is going to be an interesting one due to the fact that we're going to have to rotate for the first time. This little period of games now is the first time this season, barring the Grimsby game, where we have to rotate. We have to. So we played, obviously, on Sunday, and we won, which is amazing. Can't believe it. So happy. Did you read the stat? Did you read the stat? That that win on Sunday against Palace is the first time since January 2022, nearly 4 years ago, that Man United have won a Premier League game in London, other than to a team called Fulham. We've won 4 away games in London in that period. One of them was Palace at the weekend. The other 3 were Fulham games. We've beaten no other London team for 4 years. 4 years! This is also why, when it comes to Amorim's the problem, I agree Amorim hasn't made us better, but I just don't look at it as, that's what, the way it gets worded is that's when our problem started. Much deeper than that. Don't listen to anyone that's not having the real conversation. Fools. But look, the reason I say that is we then play on Thursday, the 4th, West Ham. We then play Monday, the 8th, against Wolves. We then play the following Monday. We haven't got a European game. Play the following Monday. That's 3 games, though, in the space of 13 days, 14 days. There has to be some rotation. Mainoo surely has got to start one of the next 3 games. Surely he has to. You know, Cunha's coming back. I think Cunha was out with concussion, so he's going to be fit. I'd actually look at it this way. I would start home against West Ham. I would start Cunha in the game. I'd give Mount a rest. He's had a couple of starts on the bounce. He started at the weekend. I'd bring Mainoo in for Casemiro. Or I might even do this. I might even put Bruno into the 10, honestly. And against West Ham, I might even try something that we might need to do without Mbeumo being here. Because Mbeumo is going to be missing for the Newcastle game, the Wolves game, the second Wolves game, the Leeds game, the Burnley game, and possibly, when did they say, when's it ends? It the 18th of Jan it ends. Or they're the 8th. The 18th. Going to miss the City game. Maybe, I mean, Mainoo should be starting a lot of those games as well, because Bruno's got to go back into the 10. And he's going to get opportunities there. So I wouldn't be looking to loan him. I wouldn't be looking to sell him. I'd be looking to give him opportunities in this team to prove he can do the right job. He can prove he's good enough. I don't know, Terry, only going for the players who'll come no matter what feels like a loser's way to approach the top end of sport. Also, we had to convince Yoro there would be Man City to be, where would Man City be today with that approach? We're not Man City when they got taken over. We weren't a very, very, very small club that a lot of people on the continent had never heard of, that were trying to build a reputation. We have the reputation. We're a gargantuan institution. I think it's the right approach because we have to get our ducks in a row. And what I mean by that is we had it with the Lap. The club thought the Lap had agreed. And then the Lap was like, actually, I've changed my mind. I want to go to a team with Champions League football now. We need to avoid that. So we need to know that someone's dedicated no matter what level we're at, because they want to help Man United get back to the top. They want to help Man United become a Champions League team again, or if they're in the Champions League, help them win it. I understand some people will go, I want to keep my options open because I really want to be in the Champions League. And I think that's fair. But I would rather a player who is 100% dedicated to being a Man United player and advancing wherever we are to the next level than someone who is I know they're thinking about their own career, and I've got no issues with them doing that. What's best for them. But I want someone who is more dedicated to us. Someone who's like, I want to be part of that. Mbeumo look how good he's been so far. I've been very impressed with Cunha so far. He was fully committed that way. Lemaine's wanted to be here. Very impressed with him so far. De Ligt wanted to be here above and beyond anything else. Look how good he's been. I actually think Maz has been quite good. The changing system hasn't really helped him. Yoro's still young. I know he's had a couple of bad games recently. He's under a lot of pressure. But overall, I've been impressed with what he's showing, and I think he's going to go on to be a good player. It's only really Ugarte. Even Šeško, and Šeško gets a lot of stick. Barring a bad game against Forest and a really bad cameo against Spurs, I was actually quite impressed with him. But that's just me. Maybe I'm different. This here 5-month membership comment here from Raphael says, what happens if Mainoo doesn't perform? All these players have had opportunities, even as cameos when there's their chance. We need to win. Well, look, Xerxes got 2 starts in a row. First game, I thought it was dreadful. First half against Palace, thought it was awful. Second half against Palace, excellent. Hold-up play was better. Used his physicality. Scored a brilliant goal. And do you know what's really funny? The manager admitted that goal came from individual brilliance. And what that does, it makes football fans go, see, we're a bad club. Because we only scored because of individual brilliance. That's what you need. It's what you need. If we just talk about open play goals for a moment. How did Arsenal equalise at the weekend? Oh, it was a tap-in header. Why? Because of a moment of brilliance from Saka on the wing. Why does Saka create so many chances? Because he constantly has moments of brilliance. Do you know one thing I think we've been almost poisoned against thinking about is that goal from Xerxes was an acute angle. But Man United at our pomp, we had loads of players scoring goals like that. Where you're scoring, we used to call them half chances when I was younger. We barely take our half chances. Mbeumo's done it, even Mbeumo and Cunha this year. One thing I want to see more from them is get that ball out the edge of the feet in the box and put it in the top corner, put it in the far corner. Cunha did it against Brighton, but I want to see more. Mbeumo scored some goals, yes. But I want to see, he did it against Brighton in the same game. But I want some more of that. I want some goals from nothing. And in the team goals that we score, why are we acting like you don't get moments of brilliance in team goals? If you put together like a 44, like people look like, 44 pass goal. It's a real system goal. Yeah. But were there passes in that were difficult? Was there a cross that was pinpoint and took out 5 players? I look at that still as a moment of brilliance. I think our minds have been... Listen, do I want to see us move the ball quicker? Yes. But I think that's more about intensity than it is system. I think that's more about mentality and application than it is system. As soon as we started moving that ball quicker against Palace at the weekend, we had openings. The openings led to the free kicks. We scored from the free kicks that were great. I then think we should have scored from open play. We just weren't clinical enough. If those goals would have come from open play afterwards, would we have said the system improved? I wouldn't. I'd have said the intensity got better. That intensity leads to more openings, and that's where you want your individual brilliance to shine through. Pep Guardiola said it himself. His job is to build a system where the ball can get to the edge of the box. Then it's down to the players. I agree with him, not because it's Amorim. Been agreeing with him for years on that. And I won't change my mind. Bruno currently is Man United. Listen, I still get upset that Bruno is so deep. Highest assist in the league. Highest chance create. Listen, I know that Mark said something on mine and his podcast earlier on today. If you haven't seen it, go check out the Football Terrace after this show and watch Hot Takes with myself and Mark. But he kind of said some of Bruno's assists are like 2-yard little passes and then someone scores a screamer. I do agree that some assists are probably not worthy of having an assist. But he is the highest creator of key passes in the league. Highest creator of key passes in the league. Still, from a DM. Go and look on transfermarket.co.uk. Classified as a DM most of the season, how deep he's been sitting. But from a deeper role, he's still the best chance creator in the league. I still think sticking more regularly in a 10, Mainoo behind him, would do much better. We'd do much better. I still think it. If both Ugarte and Mainoo go in January, what should we do? Or will one of them be forced to stay? In my personal opinion, what I would do in that scenario, I would sanction it if we knew we could get a main target. Maybe it's Stiller. Maybe he's there. But I would knock on the door of Brighton and say, look, your better performances have come this year when Baleba's been dropped. Clearly his head's been turned. What's your price? They're probably going to say 80, 90 million. If we're going to sell Mainoo, the only way it's made better, the only way it's made palatable for me is if you go out with that money and go and get a Baleba, go and get a Wharton. I don't want Mainoo gone. Please don't twist my words into that. But the only way you make it palatable, acceptable, the only way you soothe it in some regard is by going out and buying another top quality midfielder that you are going to play and you are going to give chances for. That's it. So for me, you can't be letting Ugarte and Mainoo go and then you bring Gallagher in on loan. I don't see that as an improvement. I think we've just gone and got weaker. You know? That being said, Mainoo on the bench not playing, you might as well have an academy player on the bench not playing, if that makes sense. If you're not getting game time, there's no point in being there. Most chances IQ, Bruno is him. We have no replacement for him who will create like him. Well, in the Premier League, from a deeper role, the only player that's close to those numbers is Elliot Anderson. I also don't think longer term Ruben wants to play him in the 10. I think he wants more athletic players like the Mbumos of this world. You have to ask yourself, why is Bruno still the highest chance creator from a deeper position? And then ask, is it actually benefiting the team? All chances and created equal. Listen, I think this is what the way I view it. And I love that point there, mister, because some people will say, yeah, but that means he's further forward. When we then lose the ball, there's holes in the team, we get exposed. I agree. But I think that's due to the fact that we don't have enough athleticism in the team to cover those holes and gaps. So I think there is a little bit here of chicken and egg. We can abandon the system and adapt more and don't have Bruno go further forward and maybe be harder to break down and beat. I.e., we did that away against Liverpool. We were so disciplined. Especially after scoring first, it was easier to do it. So disciplined. Yes, we conceded. And then we got the goal back. We were very disciplined and we still conceded chances, but we weren't being run through as easily. It's about the balance, you know, and I feel that I still want... Bruno is still I wouldn't classify him personally as a DM, even though he's deep. You got a double pivot. Rice plays double pivot right now. He goes up and down. We need a box-to-box. Bruno's issue in the box-to-box role is he just doesn't cover the ground quick enough. He's not powerful enough in that position. I don't think he has a subtlety on the ball in a deeper area. By the way, if Casemiro could pass the ball around like Caicedo does and had the energy of Caicedo, it would also be very different, in my opinion. The other story which we haven't touched on yet, actually, is the Marcus Rashford situation. And this here has come from The Athletic, who have stated here that if Marcus Rashford ends up leaving Barcelona after this window, after his loan, which is the most probable scenario by the looks of things now, Barca could be after a replacement for him. I'm a little gutted for Rashford because it would be the second time he's been on loan and hasn't been purchased. I still think that's to do with what he wants to get paid. He's on a huge amount of money, and he, unfortunately, like I had a big prediction about him years ago. I looked at his ability, and I didn't say he would be as good a football player, but I felt he could have created GOAT level legacies for himself in the Premier League. I looked at this young kid and thought, if he keeps scoring, this was in a period where he was very young and he was started scoring some goals, and it was like a moment where I said, someone said, how good do you think he could be? And I said, if he maintains what we're seeing now and goes on to the next levels, you're talking about someone that could be looked at as a legend in the same eyes as a Ryan Giggs, as a Thierry Henry. And he was at the right club for it because of the size of our fan base. He hasn't ever gone to that next level for sustained period, for long periods of time. He had that great period back in 22, 23, where he scored all those goals, and you thought, okay, well, he's now finally clicked. And then it dissipated. He's done well at Barcelona, but I think they look at it and go, 200,000, 300,000 pound a week. It's too much money for what you're getting. And that's one of the biggest issues that Man United created under Woodward and his predecessors, is we put such average to good players, some very good players. We put them all on world-class player money. So you create a problem. Nobody wants to really buy them because they go, hang on, they're worth 30, 40 million pound transfer fee. They're not worth the 300 grand a week salary. Most of these guys are like Rashford now, where is in football, he's probably £150,000 a week player. Is he willing to accept that? Are Barca willing to pay it? Looks like no. They look like they think for less money they can get something else that can do what Rashford does. And this creates another problem now. I don't necessarily blame Ineos for this because they didn't give him the new contract. They didn't create this problem. But it's just the issue and the concern I have, it's another job now in the summer. It's another job to find him another club, you know, and we need another big clear out this summer. Sancho's, the Shaws, the Maguires, the Rashford, the Casemiros. I've got different levels of respect for all of them for what they've done for the club, but they've all got to go. We need all that money from their salary saved, and it needs to be invested into younger, fitter, faster, more capable players. Again, irrespective of who the coach is, irrespective of if Amorim stays. But the frustrating element, I think it is big news. I think it's a real big bit of news for me, just because it's another layer, another added load of nonsense that we've got to go through in the summer now. And equally, Rashford got his dream and got to go to Barcelona. My hope, if Rashford does have to leave Barca, is that he just accepts that maybe going to a club of that size isn't for him. And maybe he's a bit more open to other clubs. Maybe he's a little bit more open to... Because I think in the summer, United probably could have got a good, decent price for him if he was willing to be paid a more sensible amount of money and go play in Italy or go play in Germany or go play elsewhere. Maybe the Saudis will come in. Maybe he'll look at that point. That being said, he's just got himself... Sorry, I think I scratched my arm itching now. My new tattoo, sorry. He just got back into the England squad, so maybe Saudi isn't the right place for him. But a little disappointed. A question I have for you guys is, would any of you take him back? Would any of you take him back at Man United? Would you give him another go? Lawrence here said, well, Marcus is a striker and a winger who can't fire all the time. Inspirational in his moments. Then a hiatus, a little like Gareth Bale. Amorim should play Lozano. That's not nothing to do with that comment there. Again, quite a few no's and quite a few yeses. So from my point of view, I look at it this way, and He'll have left us twice already and gone on loan. He had no desire to stay in the summer. Right now, Amorim's our manager and he has no desire to play him. He can't play 10. He can't play as a striker. He won't do the dog work that's needed for the wing-back role. There's no place for him. So unless Amorim's gone and we're playing 4-3-3, and even then I'd rather spend the money on Semenyo. I love Marcus Rashford. I've got nothing but respect for the man. If I met him, I'd probably fanboy a little bit. I love what he done for the club. He gave me so many happy moments. He's helped win us European trophies, domestic trophies. He's achieved something most United Academy players never will. And I'll always love and respect him for that. But for me, in this particular instance, I'm going to use an old-fashioned phrase. An X is an X for a reason. And I think we and he should move on from each other. I don't even think we should entertain talk. And by the way, someone here, RJ, says Rashford should go to Serie A. 100%. Do you know what that man would do in Serie A? What would happen in Serie A? Everybody would be going, Ballon d'Or! Ballon d'Or! Rio would be sitting there going, Ballon d'Or! He'll kill it over there. He'll kill it. He really would. On this weekend's game, though, I wanted to touch on the weekend's Thursday's game. I saw a stat, and it was looking at the Premier League table, 12 games, not 13, last year versus this year in the improvements. There's been a 100% shift in the league table this year. Every single team has either got better or worse. No one's on the same amount of points as last year, which is crazy. And Man United are currently, after 13 games, 2 points better off than we were last year. And we're closer to the European pack. I don't think people realise that. If you're someone that believes in that stuff, if you're someone that believes in comparing this time last year to, I think it's a barometer, looking at your points totals, partly. I don't think points totals are the be-all and end-all. You could qualify for the Champions League. 68 points is what... If we win the next 2 games, we're tracking towards getting 68 points, which would have got you into the Champions League 5 out of the last 7 seasons, as an example. It doesn't necessarily mean you've improved. You have to look at far more things than just your points total. But if we do win the next 2 games, we're not just 2 points better off after 15, like we are now after 13 games. We were on 19 points after 15 games last year. We'll be 8 points better off if we win our next 2 games compared to last year. And I think it is a significant element as we go into a tough time over Christmas where we're losing a couple of our players. Building confidence is needed. And I feel like when we went into that Everton game, there was a chance to put on a performance, win the game, and show a corner was being turned, and it was abysmal. We've then recalibrated, got a brilliant result away against Palace, I think from multiple levels. 1, showing there's been some improvement. 2, giving the fans something to sing about as we go into December. 3, responding to that further to that Everton game. 4, making that Palace away win mean something. Make it mean something, Man United. Last season, I wrote this down earlier today, we won 7 games at home and 4 games away. Win these next 2 games, and it'll be 5 wins at home in the opening 7 home games, and 3 wins away in the opening. By then, it'll be 8 away games. We've played 1 extra away game. It'll be 15. Now, I'm not looking at that and going, oh my God, this is the most amazing record in the history of football. But for being almost halfway through the season, it is a vast improvement on last year. It means you're sort of tracking towards 11 or 12 home wins and 7 or 8 away wins. That puts you in contention for a European position. And the reason why I still want to make Europe is, again, it's about testing Ineos here. This is my thought process. It might be different to all of yours. I want to win games. I want to get back into Europe. I want Ruben to be a success. But you know what? If we finish 6th and we end up in the Conference League, or we came 5th and ended up in the Europa League or Champions League, if we were still very, just not quite sure, I'd love to see the ruthlessness of the club. Whether they went, listen, we've got Champions League football, we're going to run with that and buy better players, but we still think you could have got more out of this team this season. Ruben, good night. God bless, and we'll see you soon. I would kind of love that. Equally, if we actually start improving more and more, and you're going, we're starting to actually purr a little bit here, we're starting to actually be a bit more dominant, plus we know we've got better players coming in, you might look at it and go, well, now the fan base is more behind Ruben, the players are behind Ruben, they've realised they can't just have a bad patch and get rid of a manager, it might stand us in better stead. So, you know me, my feet are really firmly on the ground, and there's Lots of reasons I want to win these 2 games. The most important is Man United winning football matches. But I want us to try and create a little bit of a base again. Let's get 3 wins on the bounce again. Then we've got Bournemouth at home. Can you make it 4 wins on the bounce? Forget the United strand and his hair. Can we build on this? Can we make a statement to say, listen, we are in contention for a European spot. We have gone up a level. Maybe then we look at the Everton game and go, it was a blip. Maybe we look at that body of 8-9 games and go, the only real stinker was Everton. Because actually, you look at the majority of the games, we've won the vast majority, we've grown in the league, and we've responded to a bad moment. It may make us think differently about that particular moment. Now, I'm not saying I will. I have to assess the performances, how we won. If we scrape 2 or 3 wins and look awful, it's not going to change anybody's mind. But I think we should be winning the next 2 games and winning them as the better team. Should be scraping it. We cannot be the team that gives Wolves their first win of the season. I think all these things are really important. But again, in the comments section below, I would love to get your thoughts, your opinions on this in terms of these 2 games, because I know it's important for the players just to look at this as individual matches, and I mean that. But for myself as a fan, I sit there and I haven't allowed myself all season to get carried away at any moment. Not with beating Liverpool, not with losing to Arsenal. It's let's assess the moment and what we need to do moving forward. The last few weeks I've been thinking a little bigger than that and going, right, let's look at this body of games we've got coming up. How would we feel come Boxing Day if we've beaten West Ham, beaten Wolves, beaten Bournemouth, maybe lost away at Villa and got a decent result at home against Newcastle? Will we feel differently about Ruben Amorim, about this Man United team and what we could achieve, as by then we're past the halfway point of the season? Will we feel the same? Will we feel worse? I'm just intrigued to know your thoughts on it. Do I think we'll sign Elliot Anderson? We've got a chance. We've got a chance, but a lot of clubs want him. It's going to be a difficult one. It really is. Look, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in today. It's always a pleasure to sit here and speak football with you. United stand back 8. Actually, will it be back at 8 p.m. tonight? Or are you doing a watch along for... it's either 7 or 8 p.m. tonight, but there is football on, so I'm not sure if a watch along is being done on That's Football. I don't know. I didn't ask. But either way, United stand, That's Football. That's where Mark will be tonight. I want to thank you all, as ever, for tuning in. Take care. Oh, someone says it's earlier. There we go. 7 p.m. tonight, then United Stand is live. But until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless.